Hello, Marco.
Hello, Jorge. All fine.
All good. How are you?
It's better this way. Pretty okay, but I got here just in time. They just got me out from the hospital. I had to get my back checked. It was
Oh,
hurting like hell. But again, it's the same thing. I know that it's weak. I have to exercise.
yeah. I had surgery on my back a couple of years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy that we got this solved with big X-rays and everything. That I don't have a slip disc or something, because then it would start to
Yeah.
fall off some shows from upcoming shows and tour.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta be in the first day of February. I gotta be in Helsinki at the rehearsals.
Well, I'm glad you can escape the surgery. I had to do it because I could barely walk. So,
Yeah.
to be done. It was really bad, but I'm fine now anyway.
Uh,
So,
okay. Was it a slip disc with you, or
yeah. The disc was coming out and it was touching the nerves, and it was on both ways. So they had to scrap the disc. They had to enlarge the holes
yeah,
where the nerves go through, and so yeah. But I still need
and get it?
to I still need to exercise anyway, and I'm not doing it.
Uh, this is hey, it's the goddamn culture of these days. We just sit around lazy way too much. Should move.
Sometimes it,
Luckily, I got a walking
yeah.
friend here.
Oh, well, you got a good excuse to go for walks anyway. I don't.
Yeah, it'll
Anyway,
help. I recommend it. Have a
yeah.
dog.
Let's talk about Roses from the Deep. When did you
All
start
right.
working on the songs for the album?
Um, that's always a little bit of a vague thing to me, because I got all kinds of little pieces of lyrics and or some longer and pieces of songs going on at all the time. And sometimes it takes years for them to actually to be finalized in songs. That's what happened, for instance, with the Roses from the Deep. I had already written like most of the lyrics, and the verses already like a bit already were like a couple of years before we released the Pyre of the Black Heart, which was 2020. So Roses from the Deep was kind of waiting to be finished. And then when I finally found the nicely standard chord and a mainstream recipe breaking chorus, then we could actually move on into finishing.
Yeah. I mean, the songs that are on the album are all the songs that you wrote, or you left some songs out from the songwriting process?
We had a few, like a riff and a melody line, and that were really promising. But these are probably the ones that we kind of just okay, one thing leads to another. You work on a song, and this starts to sound really good, and let's add this and let's add that. And then when we had 10 of them, okay, we got an album material.
And do the songs change much during the process?
Mm, Again, it's a little bit song by song. Some songs didn't change hardly at all.
Yeah.
But then, for instance, with the prog epic Dragon Must Die, that was something where I had the main riff, and I had the verses, and I had the choruses and some ideas. But I made the mistake of going away for a few hours to do something at the home, and left the boys at the studio to do some demo ideas. When I came there was a shitload of stuff. But then it sounded good.
Yeah. And it's good to have, obviously you like to write the stuff yourself, but it's always good to have musicians with you that understand what you're doing and can bring
Yeah,
the
for
best
sure.
of those ideas.
Yeah, for sure. And Mr. Väinölä, the guitar player, Tuomas Väinölä, he's become a pretty, essential right hand in this process. He's also a long-term studio player and a sound engineer. And I have that, my schooling on that side too. So we have all kinds of ideas which we can easily talk about with the terms and the jargon and finish those things and all that. So yeah, the albums, neither one of them would be sounding like this or totally finished like this if the guys haven't been having their hands there.
Yeah.
And for me, that is just fine, because I don't really, if I just finish everything myself, it's just myself. With this way, the whole, like, wide abundance of possibilities where to go from one place to another is way more wide.
Yeah. And one of the things that I enjoyed about the record, it's a varied album. I mean, it's not just, let's say, one genre, so to say.
Yeah,
It-
I admit to it. Also, that's the thing that me and the guys, we're all like pretty well experienced dogs of the road and studio and all that. And it's an musically ambitious guys. They want to do something that hits nicely, but doesn't sounds as much as ourselves as possible and as little as somebody else as possible.
yeah.
So with these guys, it's pretty easy to start to melt down all of our historical musical backgrounds into something that slips from hard rock to metal and prog rock and everything in between.
Yeah, that's the thing about listening to this album, because I felt it was it had character. That's the word that character. It's something that it's not like, as you were saying, like somebody else's or any other bands. It's very much a band and unique sound to it, and
Thank you.
and that's why I said it's varied, because the identity and the character of the record, you listen to it and we know it's your voice, but at the end, it brings you on a different journey throughout the songs, which is something that we have to appreciate as well.
You're right about that. Yeah. And that's where the ambition of myself and maybe the other guys can be heard, that we'd rather go the long way than just the safe and shortest.
Yeah. And one of the things, you sing in Finnish on one of the songs on this record. Obviously, Finnish is your native language, but you were known for singing in English most of the time for us. Is that a big difference when you have to sing in Finnish and when you have to sing in English?
Well, not for me that much. I mean, I've been doing, for instance, 20 years here in Finland. I've been doing this Christmas project that has about a month of touring before every Christmas, doing traditional Christmas songs arranged into symphonic pounding metal. There's a bunch of vocalists and all that, and that's all in Finnish, of course. And I've done that for every year for 20 years, at least a few shows. So I'm used to singing in Finnish, also singing without the bass and all that. But there are certain differences this is more from the professional side. English is easier to sing, because Finnish has a lot of hard accents and consonants and all that. And English is softer and more even. So that way it's like, for instance, with the Pyre of the Black Heart, because we had the Finnish version of the album and English version. And then you listen to the mix and say that it's way easier to mix the English because it's got natural compression.
Yeah. And, obviously one of the highlights on the album, it's the duet you have with Tarja on Left on Mars.
Yeah.
When you start writing the song, you knew it's going to be a duet right away?
Nope, I didn't. I was writing a romantic song about being an alien amongst the human beings. And there are certain reasons for that, because it comes from me. I felt slightly bit of different from everyone else ever since I was a kid. not to glorify it, it just makes you very fucking lonely at times. And so that's what, and then when my depression and all things were bad, there was only one person who actually followed me when I felt like I was totally on a different planet and I should be even farther away from the rest of humans. It was my wife, Camila, who kind of followed me to the other side and never left.
Yeah.
And helped me to come back. So that was the original idea of the song. It was romantic. And then again, Thomas Feidler, the guitar player, he said that this song could be a duet. And I checked out the lyrics, and it's so full of symbolism that you could actually take it that way too.
Yeah.
And then I had already agreed to Tarja that, okay, I'll do the Phantom of the Opera with her on Switzerland. So it was kind of a no-brainer to click, should I ask? And when I said that to Thomas, he was immediately, yes, of course. So we made a demo version, which I sang myself. And then we took some parts and harmonies, and keyboard player at the time, really, he put them through AI so that they could be octave higher and sound like a girl. And then we gave that demo to Tarja. And she was pleased, said that it's nicely prog and all that. Again, that word prog, nicely prog. And she did it. And we just asked for a couple of double ups for some choruses to beef up the sound. And that's it. And
yeah. One of the things about, and it goes back to the time when you guys were in Nightwish, it's that your two voices really gel well together. It's...
Indeed.
I mean, you could not ask for a better pairing when it comes to male voice and female voice.
Okay, thank you.
Than the two of you. This is something that, when you go on tour, you have been playing with Tarja some shows.
Mm.
Is it something that you want to do whenever possible, this duet live with her?
Yeah, it is. It is a bit of a arranging because, well, she has her own band. I got my own band. We got all that music of our own. So there's like what we're doing here on the European side, this double band co-headlining tour is pretty good for it. We get to play our own stuff, do our own show, but then we also can have a half an hour with some legendary duets also.
Yeah, it's
so it's a good package, but of course I got my own shows coming up too. And she has some of the, especially summer festivals, so all that. So for now it's nice, but of course playing some selected Nightwish stuff, Left on Mars and something else. I think that to continue on this road, we would have to have more new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for now, it hasn't felt cheap doing Nightwish songs because there's obviously a great demand for the people to hear me and Tarja sing together.
Yeah.
and some of the duets like Dead to the World, I really love the chorus, how it's split up with vocalists and then you break into harmonies by the end of it, both together and all that. So it's really nice to do. But in the end, it's still, we're not there in the band anymore.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to write something worthwhile to actually do together again.
Yeah.
But then again, I wrote Left on Mars and I asked Tarja that if she would like to do it. She did, but now I owe her one. So when she's got some music written down and she starts to work on her next album, we'll probably be there.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. And going back to the album, Two Soldiers is a beautiful song. It's another duet, but a vocal duet. What is the song about? It's a very, very nice song on these records.
Well, it's a very much anti-war.
Yeah.
And there you deal with the brother from another mother when you have mates and all that. And JP is doing this duet with me because we actually have that kind of a brotherhood of the road that has gone on for some decades already. He's definitely one of my best friends. And And so we figured that well, it was actually this particular song, Two Soldiers. Uh, I got quite a lot of music in it, but Tuomas Väinölä, he wrote quite a lot of the lyrics, almost all of it. So it's actually he's written down as the author of the lyrics there mainly. I just help with straightening up a few lines, and James Lascelles from Wheel, who's a native English speaker, also checked them through and added a few things and replaced a few things. But yeah, lyrically, it's Tuomas's song, and he pretty much arranged the pieces together that we had, the chorus and the verse and the acoustic guitar lines and all that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Tuomas is responsible of the song, and he had this idea, what if you do this song together with JP, since you have this brother from another mother vibe already been a long while. And I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to do it. Because JP has a really great low end, whereas I'm nasal and high. And what do you know? Those harmonies there, they sound pretty nice.
They do. It's amazing, you know, sometimes you just need to experiment and try and realize that, you know, a lot of things can work as well. So go for it. As I said, it's a very beautiful song. I really enjoyed. It's one of my favorites of the album. This one and Left on Mars. They are, you know, I like duets. I don't know why, but I just think you have a great voice again for duets.
Well, yeah, it's nice. It works by its own, and then you can add it to other people as well.
Yeah, it's great. And you know, you adventure yourself in the acting world in Finland in a TV series. What is the difference for you to get on that stage for acting and on stage to sing and play live? What are the differences for you?
Well, the TV show was more of a reality TV, so I was there totally myself. And it's a kind of a nice, you know, format. That's it, TV format. That they have this bunch of like singers, and they take them to the countryside, to the backwoods behind the god's back, so that you can't really meet or see anyone. You got like 8 people there from different genres, different ages, and all that. And then everybody has their own theme day. I had mine. And when there was my theme day, I would be the king of the day, sitting there at the end of the lunch and dinner table, and everybody else would perform your songs.
Yeah.
So I heard really weird hip-hop version of Wings of Darkness from Tarot, really great version of the Nemo from Ilta. That was really good. And stuff like that. And then, of course, I was singing every day for when some other people were there at the end of the table as king of the day. Everybody else would sing their songs. So I got a good bunch of, from kiddie songs to techno, to rock, whatever, pop. And then we just arranged them to some for more heavy metal, some more weirder, and some totally all.
What a good experience for you.
It was fun. Basically, as a principle, of course, I'm very skeptical about these reality TVs. Mostly they are crap for people who enjoy watching crap.
I understand the feeling.
Yeah, but I was really nicely surprised, because this group of people that we had, the artists, it was actually one of the like most open-minded and sincerely, honestly supportive groups. Like everybody was rooting for each other, and we were laughing a lot. And some people had really tragic stories and all that, because the whole thing is like you're doing a lunch and a dinner, and people are performing those songs, and then you talk all about all kinds of things about your life and all. And like, for instance, my colleague Jussi there, he had this nice thing as a kid that they just suddenly told him that his mom was dead. And he was, of course, devastated. He was the smallest of the group. He had an older sister and a brother. So, and the father was drinking and blah, 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 blah. So in the end, what happened? After a few years, suddenly, mother came back. She was alive. but the little kid had already been seriously traumatized. She had left because the dad was just drinking all the money and even throwing down the mom's medicines down the hatch when the booze was over and all that. So she got enough and went away. And the rest of the family told Jussi that his mom is dead. So, of course, the boy was in pieces.
Yeah.
And then after a few years, mom suddenly comes back from the dead. He even said it, yeah, well, it wasn't that serious. That there's a silver lining. Mom wasn't dead. What a silver lining.
I mean, after so many years thinking that, I don't know, it's
so that's the kind of level of seriousness. I gotta be careful with this back when I'm walking. That's the level of seriousness of what kind of stories people opened up from their lives and all that. So yeah, there were genuine tears and laughter in a lot of places.
Yeah. And you mentioned Taro. Is there any, in the future, another album from Taro? What's your idea? Or you prefer to continue with your, solo career, so to say?
I'm definitely going to be keeping the solo career now going on because I have such a good group and all that. With Taro Boys, the situation is like we did those, like, so to speak, comeback shows last summer with festivals. It was good fun.
Yeah.
But then again, there is also that kind of trouble that my brother, the guitar player, he's in practice, he's kind of like a nurse for his wife, who's pretty severely invalidized.
Okay.
So these days we couldn't go for a longer tour. Then that's why the festival season was easy to kind of let's have rehearsals at the hometown and then get to do some weekends.
Yeah.
So with the shows, I don't know how it's going to turn out. That much I do know, that it was so much fun that we agreed that next summer, when everybody has their holidays and everybody's free of their work, I'm free of constant touring, which this spring is going to be, and all that, we're going to get together and start going through the old archive of riffs and ideas of songs and see how they sound these days. Yeah. And see if we got the chemistry when we sit down and start working on something. So there might be studio stuff, but again, it's vague. We got to see how the chemistry works.
Yeah. And you already have announced some shows for the spring. Summer festivals, are you going to play many of them, or what's the idea?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure because well, it's January and I just kept away from thinking of anything. I try to stay with the family. I got a little girl and everything. So I know that there is some of the solo shows. In some places, I was going just to visit Tarja's band show and do a few vocals with Tarja. But I have no idea how many shows and with my band or hers. I don't know. I would have to get to it.
Yeah.
But good. It's still a few months away.
Yeah. And, I'm going to just ask you this. I know it's a personal question, but do you have any regrets leaving Nightwish?
Of course. I was regretting it already when I was leaving, but it was not just Nightwish. I've said this quite a few times, that I actually left everything.
Yeah.
Then my trouble with the depression and anxiety was constant.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't go away and had gotten worse and worse and worse during the years. And I grit my teeth and held on until I felt that, yeah, it was when COVID was started to be over, and they said that, okay, we got these plans for the spring and then these plans for touring and all that. And then I kind of realized I don't want to go. I'm feeling too bad. And if I go on the road, it's just going to be a stress, and I'm going to be alone. And on tour, I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's everybody's got their own survival methods. They got to have them and all that. So I figured I cannot do it. And at the same time, I was also already looking kind of vaguely if there would be a place where I could escape some winter months, because the darkness was making the depression and anxiety worse and all that. And then I kind of realized that I want to leave everything, all the responsibilities, everything. I need to find out what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
So I kind of came just to Spain to get away from everything, everyone I know, except for the wife and the dog. And just to find out. And then I was talking to psychiatrists here in Spain, there in Finland, through video and all that. And then one of them just suggested that you might have ADHD. I like, how the fuck does it relate to depression and anxiety?
Yeah.
Well, it does. Read about it. And I did. Yep. And it's that feeling of difference, that you do not match the other people's capabilities of handling their daily tasks or whatever, dishes or, and I was just always lost. Everything's a mess and all that. And what do you know? There it is, the ADHD. And it makes you, as a social creature, a tribal creature, that kind of a thing, the social isolation it's a slow way to death.
Yeah.
We know that loneliness is a killer. Well, yeah, but I kind of learned to deal with it ever since I was a kid. But it doesn't really make it necessarily easier. It had its consequences.
Yeah.
And I was like that. Nothing I ever do will make anything any better. Everything's gray and worthless. And I am too. That was the thing that had been growing on me.
Yeah.
So when this ADHD thing came up, then I read about it, went to the neuropsychological tests and all that. And yep, I got it.
But now you're better, at least.
Yeah, because now I know. It's a relief to know that there are things in your history and in yourself that you just cannot help. Yeah. That's what you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of kind of guilt about things that left undone or unsaid or went straight to hell from the things you did and said. Suddenly you find out that, okay, you actually, no matter how much you wish you would have acted differently, you couldn't.
Yeah.
With the knowledge you had that time.
Yeah. Yeah, at least now you know how to deal with things better anyway. So, that's
and you can forgive yourself for the shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and then again you can also forgive quite a lot of other people for not understanding. So it's a relief. You get a load off your chest.
Yeah, very good. Marko, thank you very much for your time. All the best for the solo records. Roses from the Deep. It's a great record. Great songs. Hope to see you in Portugal soon with it somehow. We'll try to make it work, and hope to see you soon. And all the best. And again, hope to see you soon, and keep making great music and great duets. By the way,
I shall try. Most likely, at least.
All right, Marko, thank you very much. Have a great day and see you soon. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks,
you
man.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.